But yeah, woo! Alrighty. I think we shall go ahead and get started. Alright, so tonight we're going to be playing Keiko Kane. This is her. I'm not sure how well it's going to show her, but yeah, there we go. She is a science student. She's 21 years old, and she was born in San Francisco. Does she have more hit points than my last guy? I don't know. Let me go over her background information for you, since this is who we're playing tonight. Alright, physical, backstory. Personal description. Slim physique, below average height, thick dark hair, glasses, and a broad smile. Huh. This sounds like me, like 16 years ago. Not the slim physique part. I've never really been slim. I've always been hefty built. Ideology and beliefs. Science, given the time, can explain everything. Doesn't believe in ghosts and wants to find a scientific explanation for such weird happenings. Significant people. Her older brother, Hugo, who she loves dearly. Hugo works as a doctor in San Francisco. Meaningful locations. Libraries, where she can get lost in a massive book about science. Treasured possessions. A silver penknife given to her by her brother. She always carries it as a good luck token. Dun dun dun. Traits. Adventurous. Likes to be busy and get her hands dirty. Alright, so that is Keiko. And for those of you who are here last week, the beginning's going to sound very familiar to you. But, alright, Alone Against the Flames, a solo adventure for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition rules by Gavin, how do you pronounce that? Iglis? Ingli? I don't know. My apologies, Gavin. Cover by Peter Stovic. This is actually a different cover from the one on mine. By Chaosism Inc. This was copywritten in 2018. Alright. Alone Against the Flames. This is our coach ticket. So, the sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Guys, let me know if the music's too loud, okay? Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham. Not one soul. As you ask yourself one last time if you are doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will now be a new life, and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. So we're gonna go all the way down to 263. You advance on one of the figures, calling out. It slips into the oh, that's 163. Not 263. My bad. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks up and down beforehand. Wow, words. My apologies. Let's try this again. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet, his eyes are sharp in the dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. Let's see. From there, you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. Driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw. Then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack's up there. Okay. So we're going to go back to 8. Which I'm just going to push the home button because that'll get us up there faster. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your cases to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. If your size is 40, go to 23. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. What is our size? Our size is 40. So we're going to go to 23. You struggle for a few seconds before the driver comes up beside you and lends you a hand, still puffing on his cigarette. I have a bags for a small one, he remarks. You judge it's best to respond with a simple thanks. Now 233. Oh man. Alrighty. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip, at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips, and it too is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. Alrighty. So we're going to go to 134. Oh, keep going. Ah! The coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his windows. And by switching seats, you get a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Okay. So we need to make a dex check. So our dex roll... Our dex is 50. So we have a 50-50 chance of making this. First roll of the game. We failed because we got a 74. So if we fail, go to, that's 59. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. Too late. You reach for the seat in front of you. You fall into the aisle and your ribs crash against the edge of the seat opposite. Breath rushes out of you. The coach stops with a thump. The driver leaps from his seat into the road. As you sprawl dizzy in the aisle, you hear a string of incendiary curses. Words. The driver climbs back into the cab and sees you on the floor. He looks concerned and sits you back into your seat. You see what has happened now. A Fordson tractor has stopped in the road, and he had to swerve to avoid its steel object. "Sorry," he says. "All them fields, and he has to pick the road to park. You alright?" You don't think anything's broken, but you'll have a colorful bruise for the next few days. He backs the coach up. Oh, wow. Shh. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. Man. These guys, they gotta be careful. Alright, you lost 1 hit point in the accident. Okay, so we need to note that. So, we actually have 11 hit points right now, not 10. I mean, not 12. Right. Alright, so go to 71. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. "Sorry about before," he says. "That fellow was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name?" The accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's, but it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize. Oh, wait. Oh, gosh. But it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he is driving. Driving you through the middle of nowhere. Make it a Keiko. The coach turns onto a narrower road, which weaves uphill and through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. "Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once. Didn't really like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? Special someone waiting?" The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. "Job, eh? What's your line?" Let's see. I am a journalist, private investigator. I'm not any of these things. I'm a science student. What do we pick, guys? It doesn't have my occupation on here. We'll go with journalist. Or private investigator. We'll go with private investigator. So 249. You skirt around the details of the profession in your usual way, mentioning only that you have helped the police to clear up various problems in the past. Your heart pounds a little faster as you think of the post you have secured at the Blackwood Detective Agency. You've had enough of investigating martial infidelity and bank clerks on the take. It sounds like the Blackwood Agency is just the opportunity you need to cut your teeth on some real villainy. Silas narrows his eyes, but he says nothing. Let's see. Go to 128. There we go. You realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill, however. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into hazy cloud. There's no settlement, not even a cabin, as far as the eye can see. Birds drifting through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be two white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? You have a base, Oh, I see. This is telling me what to do. Blah, blah, blah. This is teaching me how to write up a character. Now I'll go to 144. The motor coach rattles on through the hills, and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view, a settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ossipee, but perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth. Struggling at the wheel, you seem to inch uphill until you reach the first buildings. Low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. Alrighty. So, we can either do a drive, auto, or psychology check. Let's take a look at our skills. 20% for drive, auto. What's our psychology? Or 30% for psychology. So we're going to go with a psychology check. Let's see if we can't do that. We need to get under 30, though. So we're rolling. Ooh, 13. Success. Cool. So, if we succeed, if you roll a hard success against... Ooh, would that be considered a hard success? Yes, it would, because we rolled a 13, and a hard success would be half of it, which would be 15. So, whew, we totally succeeded. So we're gonna go to 162. Oh, this is a map of the place. We didn't even look at this last time. You sense a falseness to Silas's actions. He is acting. Either he is not as aggravated about the breakdown as his behavior suggests, or perhaps the breakdown itself is an act. If this is a ruse to make you spend your time and money in a local shop, he will be sadly disappointed in your purchasing power. Oh, cool. So On your investigator sheet, checkmark the small box on the left of the word psychology. If you successfully complete this adventure, you will have the opportunity to learn from your experience with Silas. Cool. So now we're going to go to 194. Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools either. And with the light failing, I reckon we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadow from your surroundings are already long, and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This here is Emberhead, miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up the alley, turn right. First house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning. We'll see how we stand. Alright, so look for May Ledbett's house. Ask Silas where he will spend the night, or challenge Silas about the breakdown. I'm going to ask Silas where he's going to be staying, because we didn't do that last time. So we're going to go to 251. Oh, too many. You ask about Silas's plans. He gives the engine a sour glance before answering. I've got acquaintances here in the village. I reckon one of them owes me a favor. Enough for bed and breakfast in any case. He stares at his grubby hands. Probably won't stretch to a hot bath. You don't seem to have a lot of options. You fetch your cases from the back of the motor coach. The last thing you need is for all your worldly possessions to disappear into some stranger's hovel overnight. So, 267. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary, considering you've spent all day sitting. Silas's directions lead you to the modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in neat copper plate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on the weather-beaten door. Number 4. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your case. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Hello. Should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? Yes, Jackie. Thank you for the shout out. You inquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer many alternatives. Oh, you'll find I'm very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it's well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks May. Explain what happened with Silas and the coach, or ask about the festival. I'm going to tell her about the coach. May shakes her head and you glimpse a moment of deep-seated anger in her green eyes. He always drives too fast, thinks the road is made for him and him alone. He had a mare some years back. That was a terrible thing. You should have seen the state of the coach. You'd be surprised at the damage done. She sips her tea and gazes past you in the corner of the room. With living here, though, we can't afford to antagonize the man. He's about the only link we have to the world at large. And he's not a bad soul at heart. I suppose that going to the same route for 15 years makes a man careless. You have to forgive him. May goes silent for a long moment, then her eyes flick back to you. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low you accept it without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. Let's see. So I can talk to May, can walk around the outside, or I can turn in early for the night. I think I'm going to go with number 2. I'm going to go walk around outside for a little bit. So we're going to go to 75. May's brow creases when you announce your intention to take a stroll. Mind how you go, she says. Emberhead's surrounded by cliffs and we don't have your fancy street lamps here. Take the lantern and watch your step. Outside, you see what she means. The sky is overcast and only a few glimmers of moonlight peek through the clouds. Without the heavy lantern, you would be walking in near total darkness. You cannot hope to get an overview of the village tonight. Maze Street is a narrow passage hemmed in by squat, dark dwellings. At the end, however, it opens up. A wide thoroughfare leads off to your right. A crude sign names it Silbury Street. To the left, a few yards away, your light picks out the crooked posts of a simple fence, and beyond that, the ground drops away into darkness. You take a couple of steps closer, but you can see nothing. Air from below cools your face, then some instinct makes you look around. So, 86. An ink-black figure stands in the road, about 20 yards behind you. It stares at you. You form the sudden impression that it will run at you and throw you over the cliff edge. This is unsettling. Seeing as it's been spotted, the figure slips into an alley. Let's see. So, do we want to return to the safety of the Ledbetter house, or do we want to go try and confront the dark figure? Ooh. In preservation of my life, I'm going to go seek safety at May's house. I really want to go after it, but I'm afraid of like dying super early in the module. So, never mind. It's 100. You flee back down the narrow street, the lantern swinging in your grasp. You reach the door and pound it urgently. May is surprised to see you so soon. There up here can tire you out if you're not used to it, she says. You glance back once before you close the door. The dark figure is standing against the wall at the end of the street, still staring at you. Or is it? The murk may be deceiving your eyes. You slide the heavy bolt into place. May has settled back into her chair, but now she blinks and yawns. I believe I'll turn in. When would you like your breakfast? As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you see is a wooden door securely closed. May tuts. The young lady of the house. She'll She'll have been listening to us. Ruth, come and greet our guest. There's a short pause. The door creaks open. Two wide eyes peer at you from the gap, between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth, 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry, she sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It is a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. You dream of fire in the grate, coruscant colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first, they are tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. You wake with a start. Daylight glints through your curtains. You get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It's quite cold. If you've taken any damage, you may heal. Oh, cool. Cool. So the 1 point of damage we took from the carriage incident is now healed. Cool. Now to 166. May seems to have no running water, but she has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. Let's see if you stayed on a skill trial last night and wish to investigate the results further. Does that mean a skill check in general? We'll go look at 178, and if 178 doesn't seem like it suits us, then we'll go to 192. I think that's only if you were chasing the figures, so we'll go to 192. You're already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully, Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sourpuss he might be, but the old driver seemed to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early, and you round the final corner. The motor coach is gone. You put your bags down and search the area, trekking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There's no coach to be seen. A passing villager notices your bags. Looking for the bus? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3 or 4 days. If you need a place to stay, May Ledbetter rents a room. Man raises his hat to you and strolls into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts, but you wonder if the old goat had stranded you here on purpose. May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something? When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You are grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you could find somebody with a horse and cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry, I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. Oops. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with a splendid view. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrived on the winding road to the west. The only other road leads to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs to the northeast. The three main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. Alrighty. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. I'm just gonna roll a d6 for our options. See what we do. I think we need to do 4 of these. I don't remember. Anyway, I'll roll a d6 to see which one we do first. 3. So third option is walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road. So the air is fresh and the walk down to the lower ridge invigorating. You notice cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead, and among the crops some livestock, but no horses. Are you going to have to make your onward journey on foot? Further down, the road skirts to the edge of the ridge and descends. There are a few scattered hovels here, with signs of habitation. They are set substantial distance apart. As you examine them, a door opens and an older man steps out. He wears a big, draggled suit, but carries a piece of cloth, which he tosses over his head like a hood. As he does this, he sees you and freezes. Ooh, we get to make a luck roll. So, what's our luck? Where is my luck? On my sheet. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. So, luck is 50? So, I just need to make under 50? Oh! 5! We were not rolling this well last time we played. Alright. So if you succeed, we're going to go to 127. The man looks up at the village, scanning the cliff tops. You get a brief flash of his face. There's something unsettling about it. Then he turns to walk away from the road, but as he does, he raises a hand and slowly beckons to you. Ooh, do we follow the street? Yes. Forget life preservation. Yeah, he's beckoning to us. We're gonna go to him. You follow the man around the outcrop. He glances up, then steps between two rocks and vanishes. Closer inspection reveals a narrow channel leading into the cliff. There is just enough light to see a small, natural chamber within. You will be uncomfortably close to this man if you go inside. Hey, my character sheet says I'm adventurous, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty, so we're gonna follow him in. Oh, what was it though? It was 190? Nope. 191. With wary steps, you squeeze between rocky outcrops and enter the concealed chamber, almost banging your head on the low ceiling. The man settles back against the wall and watches until you draw close. Then he slides back his hood. Oh, we have to make a sanity check already? Oh no. So, sanity check. What is our sanity? Okay, our sanity's pretty decent. We just have to get under 60. Don't fail me now. Hi, Azure. Oh, 18. Let's go. We made our sanity check. Let's see. If you fail, lose 1 sanity, then go to 199. So we don't lose a sanity, so that's cool. We're rolling way better this time. Now watch us drink ourselves and die. Some of the man's face remains. A strip from the side of his jaw to his right eye socket is healthy and pale, if aged. But the left side is consumed by angry scar tissue. One eye droops, hooded by melted flesh. The nostril on that side is pulled open to leave a gaping hole. The disfigured man studies your reaction with his one good eye. Name's Arbogast. Willard Arbogast. Guess I don't need to ask what brings you to Emberhead. You claim to have come for the festival. If you admit that Silas... Okay, so we're gonna go with 214. So we admit to him that we got left by Silas. That swollen mouth gives a little twist downwards. Son of a bitch has rat's blood. His fingers tighten into a fist. Arbogast fixes you with a lopsided yet intense stare. You seek me out, eh? He looks up at the cave ceiling. Which one of them told you about me? Never mind. I don't matter. Oh, it don't matter. Truth is, they fear what I know. They never come at me direct. Don't want to end up like old Arbogast. He giggles. The high-pitched sound is all the more grotesque coming from his bloated lips. Then abruptly, his gaze turns to iron. Emberhead died 40 years ago, shattered by flame, consumed by the stars themselves. The ancient hill was cleansed by inferno, and from the blackened ground came new life, as is the way of all things. The Abenaki knew. Probably Abenaki. Yeah. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve. Except none of that happened. The flames were turned away. The necessary death postponed a year, and a year again. And now those up there, he stabs a scrawny finger at the ceiling, think themselves saviors of the village. Think they can defy the great old ones. Cthulhu. Yeah. He shakes his head. With strange eons, their lives matter less than the blink of an eye. A fierce intelligence burns in his gaze, but you suspect Arbogast may be quite insane. Should his mood change it would not be so difficult for him to seize one of the loose rocks and crack your skull with it. Let's see. Can ask Arbogast about the Abenaki. Ask him about the great old ones. Ask him about the villagers. Leave while you still can. I'm gonna ask about the great old ones because curiosity is burning in my veins. A smile of sickly rapture comes over Arbogast's scarred features. The great old ones. The Windwalker, Cthulhu, the crawling chaos. Like the rest of them, spread like gnats upon the earth. You think your actions matter, yes? Your existence matters. He shakes his head. We are the dust that shifts in the breeze, the motes that drift in the last rays of sun. You are nothing. We are nothing. He gathers himself into silence. Just when you think the sermon is over, he stirs. Here you are closest to the living flame. Not that belching green column beloved of Kingsport. I mean it. I mean it which preceded all life on earth. It which lit the void while our world was formed. It has infinite fuel, infinite patience. It will consume all. Arbogast runs a hand through his hair. A wide stripe is missing on the left side, displaced by scar tissue. He climbs to his feet. Ooh, I can permanently add 2 points to my Cthulhu Mythos skill. Let's go! Guys, this route is awesome. Let's see, Cthulhu Mythos. I get to add 2. Woo! It's more than I had to begin with. Which was none. Alright, now to 259. Arbogast pauses in the shadows. There's something about you, something the previous ones never had. Perhaps you can make it through. If you want to hear more, meet me again after dark. 9 o'clock. The graveyard on the other side. He lifts a gnarled finger. Don't be followed, else I won't be there. No, you cannot go over there. Sorry, guys. Cat. This ain't the time of year for a showdown. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve again. Go now. Their eyes are on me. And stranger, don't try to run. You'll never make it. You emerge into the sunlight, blinking and more than a little shaken. Cool. You have discovered a secret. Later tonight, the text will offer you a chance to follow up on a previous appointment. At that point... Oh, cool. Add 20. At that point, if you want to meet with Arbogast again, add 20 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. Ooh. I gotta write that down. Oh. Mm-hmm. 22 entry. Cool. So we go to 160. Oh, we went way too far. You turn back to the road and your core business, getting out of Emberhead and onwards to Ossipe. The ridge gives you a good viewpoint from which you can see the course of the road. It winds with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before emerging further on. You lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. By your best estimation, that is the least 6 or 7 miles distant. You see no other settlements or traffic. It may be worth taking a chance in walking. The weather is still mild, but you will still need supplies before you attempt it. You're beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? Yeah, I want to go to the general. Well, actually, here. Just so I'm not using player knowledge, since I have done this before, we're going to roll another d6 to figure out what we do next. 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to go to the village hall. So. The village hall backs against a cliff at the east end of Silbury Street. It's the largest building you've seen so far in Emberhead. It is, however, locked and shuttered. You walk around it, peering through gaps in the shutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex which serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. Back at the main door, you can see no posted openings No posted opening hours. Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings, but mornings this time of year. As a gray-garbed woman passing by, best come back this afternoon. You ask whether the office has a telegraph. Don't know, she shrugs. Who would we call? You'll have to try again later. Oh. I'm gonna roll a d6 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so we're gonna go to the large metal structure. You walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills in a sleepy gold. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further struts snake up to a central point. It looks like they have been some kind of sculpture at one time, but now are twisted and melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with roomy eyes. Are you here for the festival? He asks. That's the beacon. When they light it at night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away. He gives a little nod of satisfaction, then moves on, leaning on his walking stick. Now you notice bundles of wood tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Alright, so we need to make a spot hidden check. Let's see what our spot hidden skill is. 45. Alright. So. We need to make it under 45. Dang it. Dang it. We did not make this one. 94. Alright, otherwise go to 25 again. Oh. Oops. So we have 2 more options to try. So there's 4 more options left, so I'm going to roll a d4 this time instead of the d6. Actually, let's roll a d8 and round down. We'll just divide by 2. Because you guys won't be able to see a d4. Well, I guess you will. One. So the general store. So we're gonna go to 16. The general store on the corner beside the main road, just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport? There's a motor coach that comes through here twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due till next week. She shrugs. It seems Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. You haven't. You have enough money to buy 1 or 2 inexpensive everyday items here. Note them down on your investigator's sheet. Remember, the year is 1927. The shop stocks no weapons except for a dusty hunting knife, which you may purchase if you want. We are going to purchase the dusty hunting knife. And I'm going to smack my microphone. So. What? I have a hockey stick in my stuff? I also have a silver penknife. Alright. Wrote my hunting knife down. So we have to do one more activity. So we're going to roll a d4 and just not do 1. If we get a 1, we'll reroll. So... look for local people with their own transport. That's the one we're going to be doing. Not far from the Ledbetter house, on the north side of Silbury Street, there's an open courtyard. The rhythmic tattoo of a hammer seems to announce your approach. The courtyard is the busiest location you have yet seen in Emberhead. It is bordered by a ring of workshops. Some are brick buildings, some are only rough huts. A blacksmith ceases to hammer, thrusting something red and glowing into a bucket of cold water. A weaver looks up from his loom, blinking at you a moment before returning to his shuttle. A potter, engraver, and carpenter each work in their own space, exchanging friendly banter. You move among the artisans, chatting about their work. Eventually, you bring up the question of export. Some of them send occasional packages with Silas. Some restrict their custom entirely to villagers. You receive no suggestions about alternative transport. Alright, so we can make a psychology roll. What was our psychology? It was pretty high, right? It was like 60? Oh, no, it's only 30. But, I mean, that's decent, right? So we need to get under 30. Come on. A 2. Where are these rolls when I'm, like, dying? Oh, man. Cool. So, we succeeded. So we're going to go to 106. One of the workshops is shut up. When you stray close to it, the repertory between the craftspeople becomes awkward, almost forced. Interesting. You may checkmark the small box beside psychology. I think because we made a check? We've made 2 now. I don't know what that means. Alright, now we go back to 25, and I think it tells us to go to... Oops. Once we're done, yeah, go to 3. Your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There is nothing resembling the busy cafes of your hometown or anything that might be called a restaurant. It's beginning to look like you'll have to get supplies from the general store when May Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you... Oh, hold on. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks up into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face, and she looks several years older. "Get out before the festival," she hisses. "Get out!" She blinks hard, then scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulder. She smiles. "How are you getting on? Have you found transport?" Startled, you explain the frustration of the situation. "I tried Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in of an afternoon. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked." You glance at Ruth, where she has scrolled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. Let's see. Ask Ruth. Ask May. Say nothing. Okay, so we're going to roll a d6 and divide by 2 to see what we do here. Just because, like I said, I have played this, so I don't want to be making the decisions on my own. 3. We say nothing. Which means we go on to 22. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view of the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead streets hold little to occupy the visitor from out of town. But there is still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and bare essentials from your luggage and set out in the hope of reaching another settlement before dark. Or you could ask advice from this Mr. Winters. If you prepare and walk out of town, if you head to the village hall instead. Okay, so we're going to roll a d6. Odds, we prepare to walk. Evens, we go to the village hall. Evens, that's a 4. So we go to the village hall again. The village hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Silbury Street to find it. Conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road, the shutters of the hall are open and some windows left ajar. There is no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked private. To your left, an opening leads through to a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are 2 notice boards mounted between the windows. Again, d6. Odds the first option, evens the second option. Odds this time with a 3. So we're going to examine the notice board. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community, and one for the children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly creche services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best as you can tell, they depict fireworks or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead, or it might simply be that the artist has not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. Alright, we need to make a spot hidden check. What was our spot hidden? 45. Come on, 45 or less. Woo! 12. So we made that. As the afternoon sun hits the floor, you notice something curious. The boards under the windows are newer than the boards in the center of the floor. The frames also show signs of having been replaced in the recent past. Perhaps rain leaked in and rotted the wood. Let's see, you may checkmark the spot hidden skill. Ooh, yes. Alright. 37. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you're visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Ah, well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. Dude, I always want coffee. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumably a water closet. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well-tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. Alright, so odds, first option, evens, second option. Odds again, we've been rolling tons of threes. So, first option, we ask about the telegraph immediately. The telegraph? Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message. I must apologize. The line's been down for 2 weeks. I reported the fault, but of course they're not so speedy when the problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due in 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might. You explain that you've asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I'll tell you what. Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. The day after tomorrow? It's less than ideal, but it's the first real opportunity you've had. Taco! Thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate. Alright. To thank Winters and leave, go to 180 to ask about the library. Okay, so again, odds, first choice, evens, second. Evens, second. Rolled a 2 that time. So, 62. You make a small but flattering remark about a couple of the volumes on his shelves. Winters blushes with pleasure. Well, of course, they're not my personal collection. They belong to the village, he says. But I did select most of the recent items. This is the community's library, you see. I put up the private sign to stop people from just wandering in from the meetings in the other room, but this is really a public space. You scan the shelves. There's a sparse but respectable collection on mathematics and the sciences, passable sections on history and arts, and a shelf of literature. He has a few lowbrow novels tucked away in a corner with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine. Quality does not always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. Winters gives you an apologetic smile. Thank you for that shout out. Alright, evens or odds? Oh, I just bumped the entire camera. Alright, evens. Oh, hold on. I gotta fix, there we go. So we got a 4, so evens. So 180. Oh. As the light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to yours several times during the meal. There's an urgency there you cannot quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into their room. You have been in Emberhead for barely one whole day, and you already feel confined by it, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer little. Alright, so this is where we get the previous appointment option. Oh, I don't remember what it told us to do here. So it's either plus 20 to 131 or 138. So it's either going to be 151 or 158. We'll go check 151 first. Okay, so 158. I think. No? That's different. Huh. Oh, I think it's just plus 20 to the entry we were on. Which I think was like 1... Dang it. What were we on? Had to do with the library. Okay, so it was 180. So we want to do 200. Here we go. Here we go. Arbogast is not at the appointed meeting place. You give him 10 minutes, but he doesn't show. You curse the old crank and head back towards May's house. Psst. A hand snakes from a doorway and grabs your arm. You jump at the sight of the half-face glimpsed in starlight. One of them's near, he whispers. Watching. Come with me. Arbogast leads you across the thoroughfares, slipping between houses. The metal structure looms at the end of the street. Silent now. Oh, what was his accent? Not that, but that's okay. He says, but the beacon will come alive tomorrow night. He ushers you into a little alcove behind the village school. Arbogast glances behind you, then sits down. Again, you feel uncomfortable in proximity to that scarred visage. One melted eyelid lifts. You don't have long. Understand this. I was the conduit, the interpreter, before that fool Winters and his fancy words. The things which come to Emberhead care not for words. Those idiots think this is a ritual of sacrifice. He spits on the grass. It's a ritual to control. They know the words, but they do not comprehend the forces they call. He sniffs and sits back. No, you have no time for more questions. I will teach you how to end it. In the moment when all is lost, you can return this hill to the earth, to the death that came 40 years ago. I have tried it myself, but... His head sags. I no longer have the concentration. The chant is simple. I can teach you, but you must perform it with clarity of mind that I have lacked for years. If you learn this strange chant, go to 175. If you had enough... Oh, I'm not gonna roll for this one. I definitely want to learn the chant. This is new stuff, so I don't have to roll. Should go to 175. You feel very dislocated from reality as you sit on a cliff top behind a school at night, learning a chant by note from a madman. Arbogast is careful to teach you it in sections. He glances into the sky. Won't work right now. Cloud covering the star. But he still takes care not to pronounce the whole thing at once. It has a rhythmic beginning and various elaborations, but the core passage is repeated 3 times. I am not even going to try and pronounce that, guys. In time, Arbogast listens to your recital and nods. Remember every sound, but never speak it if you have plans left on this earth. You have discovered a secret. If your situation ever becomes desperate enough to try Arbogast's ritual, the text will offer you the option to chant. At that point, if you want to try it, add 10 to your current entry number and go to the new entry. Arbogast leans back. It will make you one with the living. Okay, so if we chant plus 10 to entry. Alright, so 188. A black shape lunges from the dark. It wraps an arm around Arbogast's throat and drags him backwards, out of the alcove. He grabs at the arm, kicking empty air. You see the gleam of a long blade in the moonlight. Ooh, things are happening. Hey, big boss. Alright, we need to make a dodge check. So what's our dodge? Ooh, 25. So, we need to make a 25 or lower. Come on, dice. Don't let me down. Dang it. Sorry I'm so late. Oh, no worries. You're good. Dang it. 95. So, that's a fail. Let's see. If you fail, go to 203. Something smashes you on the temple. You reel back. You hear Arbogast yell and see the knife flash. 1, 2, 3 times, its shiny surface darkening with blood. Something strikes you again, and as you sink, flames leap from the ground, painting the night with infernal color. They pick out 3 dark figures. Take 1d6 damage. Oh. Roll low. Roll low. Come on. 5. I feel like it only rolls low when I don't want it to. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 7 hit points right now. Oof. So 45. You awake with a jolt, wrestling the blankets, ready for attack. The Ledbetter guest room is quiet, painted with morning light. There's nobody here but you. You release the blankets and wait for your heart to stop hammering. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There is a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. Let's see, if you were involved in a fight in the village last night, you want to investigate the aftermath, go to 70. Yes, I do want to. You feel skittish as you approach the spot where you and Arbogast were attacked. Your memory of the encounter is shaky, but you remember one of 2 vivid images. At first, you think there is nothing to see. No discarded weapons or figures lying unconscious. But upon closer examination, you find sticky, congealed patches and blackened lines in the grass. If the village had a police station, you'd go there. but something tells you events have gone beyond that. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It is rather busy for this time in the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forward along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see two figures already up in its superstructure arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive, but do you intend to stay to see it? You suspect by now that something's amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation, or you may simply leave town without looking back. Alright, so we are going to roll a d6 to see what we do. Roll 3. So we're going to take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard. You approach around the back of the buildings in Emberhead's northwestern corner. By this time in the morning, you would expect activity in the artisan's courtyard, but the benches and anvils sit deserted. Your footsteps echo off the surrounding walls. One of the workshops is shut up and padlocked. You peek through the joints, but you see nothing inside. Let's see. We want to crack the padlock, physically break into the locked workshop, move to another area. I'm going to try and crack the padlock. Yeah. You examine the padlock. It is old and not particularly secure. There are plenty of metal shavings around what could work as improvised picks. But can you really pick a lock? Make a locksmith roll. You may double your skill for this roll only. You may double your skill for this roll. Oh, I wonder why. If you succeed, mark the small box next to it. Okay. So, lock pick. Oh, locksmith. Oh my gosh. Oh. If I were to double this percent, it's still only 2. But we're gonna try. I've rolled a 2 tonight. Not that it'll happen again, but you never know. I could roll a 1. Nope, that's a 75. Oh. Okay, so if we fail, you step back from the door and regard it in frustration. A crunching noise distracts you, and a human shadow falls on a nearby wall. Someone is approaching. You melt away in the other direction. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead and this day in particular. So we attempted 3 of the options below. Go to 98. Okay, so we went to the artisan's courtyard. So I'm going to roll a d4 to see what we do next. Three. So 1, 2. Spy on the activity at the beacon. So 29. Too far. The northern side of the village is bustling, and you are unlikely to remain hidden there for long. You head in the direction of the church, and then move up the east side. Behind the houses, a drop looms on your right. One particular section of ground is quite narrow, and you have to hug the building for support. Okay, let me give this approach and go to 120. To proceed, compare your size to your dex. If your dex is higher, okay, go to 42. If your size is higher, make a natural world roll. I think my dex is higher. Yeah, so we're gonna go to 42. The turf sinks beneath your feet and stones crumble from its edge. Alarmed, you grip the building and ease yourself forward. Finally, you have a good spot to watch the beacon. You lie concealed in the grass and watch the activity around the beacon. Villagers bring in yet more bundles of tinder and stack them in neat bundles. Another shift passes the bundles up to a pair of men standing on the raised platform of the beacon. They are constructing a triangular structure resembling a gigantic campfire. As you watch, you are struck by the manner of the laborers. This is their festival. You would expect a cheerful atmosphere and some light-hearted conversation, yet the faces of some show resignation and detachment, others a naked dread. You watch for a good half hour before you slip away. Alright, we get to do one more thing. One. Search May Letterbed's bedroom. Despite her hospitality, you do not trust May Ledbetter. You return to her house quite openly. Where else would you go? Inside the dwelling is still empty. You rap on the bedroom door and wait. Silence. You ease it open. The Ledbetter bedroom is in marked contrast to your own. Dirty clothes are piled about the floor. On a rough quilt lie school books and cheap novels. You notice a raggedy old doll discarded down the side of the bed. Alright, we need to make a spot hidden check, which I think is 45? Yeah. Darn it. We're starting to not make checks when I think it's most important. So, it's a 97. No, actually, it's a 67. My bad. If we fail, we'll go to 89. Poopy. I'm sure there was something important there. You go through the Ledbetter's drawers. The only item of interest you find is a wedding photograph. May's husband was a wiry man with a square chin. Despite the formality of the pose, you can see the affection between them. You feel a pang of guilt at your intrusion. Also, May might return at any time. Ooh, if you wish to push the spot hidden roll, make the roll again. If you succeed... Yeah, I want to try again. If it's going to give me the option. Dang it! 53! That was so much closer. Oh. 101. A shadow falls across you. So, May Ledbetter says, you know. You try to get to your feet. A mob of villagers spills from behind her and surrounds you. You struggle, but you cannot resist the sheer weight of their numbers. You are quickly overpowered. No. The fading light from a narrow window tells you afternoon is giving way to evening. Your hands are shackled behind your back so you cannot even lie down on the rough bed. A woman you have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They do not meet yours, and she puts a cup to your lips. I'm going to accept it. You drink from the cup. It holds cool, refreshing water, which you gulp down. When it is empty, she turns to leave. You speak to her, but she steps outside and closes the door. Later, you try yelling. Your voice must be audible outside, but it has no effect. It seems the entire village is involved. Yeah, it kind of is, Taco. This is Call of Cthulhu, and this is the solo adventure that teaches you how to play. I thought it would be fun to do on stream a couple of times because you can get different results depending on what checks you make and don't make. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. As the light fades outside, your little prison becomes dark. You can hear much activity around the building. Occasionally, an orange glow passes by the window. The only comfortable position is in the shackles seem to be to sit against the end of the bed with your arms hanging behind you. You need to concentrate and come up with a plan. There is clearly no escape from your bonds, but you do not know exactly what your captors want from you, but you cannot ignore the fact that they have spent the entire day constructing a massive bonfire. The door scrapes, wrenching you back into the moment. Orange light spills into the house from blazing torches held at the threshold. 2 large villagers step in and grab you. At least you assume they're villagers. They wear heavy black cloaks, and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only for a red triangle centered on their left eye. You try to drag your legs, but they reach under your arms and lift you bodily from the bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village has congregated to see you. Every single one has a blackened face with the red triangle motif. Torches sputter and fire spills. You struggle, but you can see physical resistance is hopeless. You are marched to the central street and returned to face the beacon. The procession down the approach is slow and formal, save when you sense weakness and yank at your captors. A chill touches you when you see the human shapes carried ahead of you, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger. Its dreadful silhouette, a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the world mourns. The word mourners comes to mind. Smoke from their torches make you cough. You feel heat on your face. As you reach the cleared area around the beacon, 3 dancers break from the pack, young girls swinging balls of fire and spectacle arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to you and touch your forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses you 3 times on the left cheek, the right cheek, then the forehead. Then they whisper in your ear. The smell of kerosene fills your nostrils. Okay, so we need to make an appearance roll. Which is 50. Come on! 50 or less. 50 or less. 86! Dang it. So, 148. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from earth to air for all our sakes, says the second. Through incandescence may you find rapture, says the third. Their dance weaves off and disappears behind the buildings. Oops. As you arrive beneath the beacon, 10 villagers close in on you. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize you and lift you up the blackened iron stairs to the raised platform. You cannot help but shiver at the sight of the central framework. twisted from past blazes, and what you can now clearly see to be fastening points for chain. None of the eyes meet yours as they lash you to the metal. The village sings now, something rhythmic and ancient, carved from old syllables. A second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange their burdens in a triangle around your feet. Let's see. Then they withdraw, leaving you alone with the dead, shin deep in a sea of kindling. Oops. It seems the entire village is gathered around the beacon to watch you burn. Behind the face paint, you recognize May Ledbetter, and yes, that is Silas, the coach driver, standing at her side. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers you. A man steps up on the dais and raises his hand with quiet authority. The frame of his spectacles obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night, as we do each year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above to our stead. In our stead. Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children and our elders alike for another year. We salute you. He bows his head. All around the beacon, bearers step forward. I lost my spot. Bearers step forward and lift their torches to the edge of the raised platform. A ring of tiny flames flicker up and around the perimeter. As they wink, the singing in the villagers drops into an unearthly rhythm. Alright, let's see. To throw all your remaining strength against the bonds. Go to 44. To wait and see what happens. Go to 40. Yeah, we're literally they're trying to burn us alive. So I'm gonna roll a d6. Odds, we do the first options. Evens, we do the second option. Oh no! 2. So evens. We're gonna wait and see what happens. Okay. Don't know why that's a good idea. The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The 3 bodies surrounding you catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. You begin to cough as the smoke enters your lungs and fight down the urge to panic. If you've learned the strange chant and wish to try it, this is the time. Ooh, we do it. Which means we go to 50. The flames draw closer as you bring Arbogast's chant to mind. It is hard to clear your head as the heat grows beneath your feet. You cough and splutter, but you sustain the words. Finally, you reach the key passage, and even as your clothes catch fire, you yell for the 3rd time. I'm not gonna try and read the passage out loud, guys. It's difficult. Go to 270. I think we're gonna die, but I think they're gonna go with us. Oops. The swirling tongues of fire around you stop in midair. The people around the beacon freeze, their black painted faces bleached and stripped as a second sun opens in the air above. Emberhead, in an instant, the people, the village, the hill, all are consumed, incinerated by impossible proximity to the sheer combustion, the essence of fire. Though your body is bound to the beacon, your being is freed. As a spark you race into space, catapulted through the vastness of the void. The stars burn past you with incomprehensible velocity, and then you are home. Forever you will dwell here at Famalthuat? the Malhuat, where the flames ripple and flow through the immense spaces to the rhythm of the universe, where planets themselves move and tilt through the unutterable wheels of fire, bound to the clockwork chaos of the living flame. And among the flames, you will dance. You have single-handedly destroyed the section of New Hampshire about 16 miles in diameter. This also killed you. The end. So we didn't live again, but we took the village with us. No, I mean, I lived, but now I live in this land of flame. I got warped through space. I live in the domain of an old one now. So, yay? I mean, we didn't live again, but we did take out a 16-mile radius of New Hampshire with us. They all died, so still counting this as a win. Yeah, exactly. I counted as a win too, because they were bad people. They were sacrificing someone for a day every year for like at least 40 years. But yeah, so you guys can totally get this module for yourself if you are interested. It's free. Hopefully you will roll better actually, I rolled way good the first like 2/3 of the game. We rolled way better tonight than we did last time. But yeah, you can get the PDF here at the link that I gave if you're interested at all. But yeah, this teaches you how to play, so you can either print a blank investigator sheet, which you can also get for free at the chaosism.com, where you'll get this module. So you can get a free character sheet and fill it out as you go, because this also teaches you how to fill out a character sheet, which I think we'll do one of those. I don't know. I've been deciding whether or not I want to do that live or if I want to do that as YouTube content. Yeah, and then you really just need a basic set of D&D dice, which if you have, you're set. If you don't have, you can find tons of different kinds of D&D dice rollers online, or like there's apps, there's dice roller apps out there. If you're interested in getting into Call of Cthulhu, either as a player or specifically as a keeper, that's what the game masters are called. You can get a really cool, here, we'll move over here. So yeah, this is what I got. This is the starter set for Call of Cthulhu. It comes with a physical copy of this module. It comes with a set of dice. It comes with the starter rules. And then it comes with book 3, which has 3 starter adventures. So there's 3 more adventures that you can run people through. And I have some people, I'm gathering a party of investigators, hopefully near Halloween, depending on the timing. Otherwise, just sometime in October. I'm hoping to do a live play session here online if I decide I am brave enough to run it online. But as I have said, I tell you guys this because then it will force me to do it. I will find the courage. So that'll be my first live play thing that I do with a group here on stream. But yeah, that starter set comes with a handful, either 5 or 6, I don't remember, 5 or 6 pre-written investigators. That's what I used today, was just a pre-written investigator. Or it comes with 5 or 6 blank investigator sheets so that you can learn how to create your own investigator. And yeah, thanks for joining me again. I definitely consider this one more of a win than last time, because last time we were just straight up sacrificed.